He's a phenomenal control player.
Welcome to the first ever canister no Banlist modern. Still an open? It's not quite an open, but well, I guess you need to be subscribed. But welcome to the first ever canister tournament. I am hoping that everything is going to go smoothly today and we all will have a good time for all the competitors. There's still a few minutes till the start, but wanted to start a bit earlier, of course, to make sure that any issues are going to be taken care of. The tournament is going to be 6 rounds of Swiss. Currently we have 46 players enrolled, so it's going to be 6 rounds of Swiss, followed up by a top 8 playoff, in which will determine the true canister. Also, I forgot that the first prize is also a VIP. So I guess last minute. No, I think we talked about. I think we talked about the fact that we'll add that. I forgot to add it into the price sheet. So we're fighting for. Well, we're fighting. You're fighting for some Magic Online cards. Promo Endurance, first place. Promo Ren 6, second place, and old boarded MTGO Force of Negations. For third and fourth prize, which were generously donated by Macwin Sauce. So that was very nice out of Macwin Sauce. And on top of the cards, kick Yellow Hat because he's the only not checked in player. Okay, I think we can check in him manually. I still see a few players without a deck list submitted, so I'll message the people who haven't submitted deck list to pester them a little bit to make sure they do submit. None of these cards are banned. True. The banned cards are mostly worthless, so it would be kinda lame, right? I think. Thank you, Lord of Pontlantis. My servant child like your haircut. Thank you very much. I am flattered to hear that. So yeah, the tournament is going to be 6 rounds of Swiss, open deck lists for both players, as we're going to be covering them over here. So wouldn't make sense would be an unfair advantage for others or something. I think it's better this way. How do I look before the haircut? You need to look up some like old VODs. Price for top 4 should have been scaling quantities of Tybalt's trickery. Okay, let me look up Tybalt's trickery. Because 0.000 free tickets. So we can like add a honorary Tybalt's trickery price for places 1 to 4, 4 to 5 to 8. There might be some players, I'm not telling there are, but Tybalt's trickery is a banned card in Modern, so there might be some players who would want to play with a banned card in a no banlist tournament you can't in the regular one after all, right? So it is a card that was deemed too strong for Modern. Young Dingo, thank you very much. Good turnout for it. Yeah, this exceeded my expectations. 46 players entered the event. A few seem to be unenrolled and not submitted a deck list, so seems like we're gonna have less players actually playing a bit, but 42 players with deck lists. GG's yesterday. I hope your tournament goes well today, hopefully. Alright, extending the prize pool.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Joel.
Yes, you will be going to freeform tournament practice. You will be asked to go to constructed specialty freeform tournament practice so that you play best of 3 25 minutes. Specifically, if you're playing in this tournament and you're listening right now, make a note of that. Please use exactly this specialty freeform tournament practice. Do not use friendly challenge like body challenge. If I were to challenge player now, it would give us 40 minutes clocks, which we don't want. If you won't listen to me and you still challenge someone through that direct challenge option, we would need to go through some very inconvenient workarounds and like we'll have to wait for the clocks to tick down. There's also going to be a slight delay before every round as this tournament is a one-man operation. Mostly, I guess Armeg is helping me a little bit with the MTG melee side of things, which is very kind of him. But there will be a slight delay before every round as I will be setting up a coverage for every round. With tournament scene, there's gonna be like players going here, here, and here, you know, this type of stuff, but that's in a minute. Will viewers be able to see the deck list somewhere during the tourney? Yes, we're going to make a command for that once in 3 minutes. Is stream sniping and such stuff allowed? If you, in tournament rules, I have made clear that stream sniping is frowned upon, and I would kindly ask you not to do that if you are participating in a tournament. You're all Kaneki subs, and you're all taking this time out of the day to play in this semi mostly casual tournament. So I'm hoping that no one is going to go to such lengths, and if you're going to be called into a feature match, you should not be watching the stream for the duration of the feature match. Where do I send the coverage link? Discord DM. Yes, I will be sending a Discord DM. For the first round, we can actually try to. We can actually have a. Well, doesn't quite work. I wanted to say that we can have a volunteer to be featured, but the volunteer is also going to have an opponent, which means that both of the things are going to need to be in that. I could choose Yellowhead or Spike, but they stream, so I think it's kind of redundant, right? Or at least Spike.
He's a phenomenal control
He's
player.
gonna stream, right?
Sibka fries Europoggers.
Yeah, Spike's streaming, so there's kind of no point. Doomweg is streaming, and Yellowhead is streaming. So I think we're going to go with players that don't do that. Thank you for the sub, Jędrek. Alright, the deck list should be up on the tournament page, so I guess we're going to be adding a command NBL deck lists, and we're going to just add a melee tournament to that. And before we pair first round, we should find a I need to contact Armek to understand MTG melee here. Very excited to play some no Banlist Modern, yeah.
He's a phenomenal control player.
No Banlist Modern Pug Champion.
Okay. So Armek also advised us to wait a little bit because the tournament often shits itself quite early. So don't begin playing yet, bros. Don't begin playing yet. And we're going to find a round 1 feature match. All right, let me figure the stuff out. How many players are there? We've got 40. What is it? 46 players enrolled. Okay, I wanted to cover Louis Samuel Del Tour's match, but his opponent doesn't seem to respond to me, so maybe we'll try to go with somebody else. So don't match just yet. All right, we're going to cover the match between Tom Harvey on Amulet and Schmutzter, also known as Samuel Pardee, with a Underworld Breach grinding station archetype. So let me give me one more minute to work that fully through, and we're going to give the players a little bit of time to connect, and we're going to see their battle. Ha, looking through the deck list, it looks like nobody's playing Storm, is that right? How odd. Neat. There's plenty of things to explore, there's plenty of deck lists to go with. Alright, yes bros, if you're not featured, you can start your round, you can start playing. You can begin the games, and I wish best of luck to all of you. Your hair looks very handsome, thank you. Working through some technical difficulties with the coverage, but it's like baked in. We know it's gonna be tough a little bit at the first pros, so no worries. We're gonna get there real soon. All right, we get to see hand from Dome, and we get to see the board, and now we also get to see the Discord. It's pretty funny. For some reason, we have trouble loading Sam's hand, so. One more second. Can I say that the winner of every feature match is a wonderful control player? So somewhat like yes, I guess. All right, I think for now we're going to roll with the game as is, and we'll let the players play. Right, so we see players performing some early turns setup actions. Better production than MTG official for sure. Doing my best. Not very quick openings. Dom getting his Urza's Saga bounced by Teferi. a play very familiar to anyone who's playing Urza's Saga or specifically Amulet. Not always nice to be on the receiving end of that. So far, we've got a few banned cards on the both sides. Green Sun Zenith just chilling in Dom's hand. Not too impressive so far, but I guess that's also not the purpose of the card. The card is mostly serving as a consistency tool, I guess. It should excel against interaction. On the other hand, Schmitzter on top with 2 Seat of the Synods, serving limited purpose so far, but they do mean that you would have access to Metalcraft as soon as well, immediately if he draws a Mox Opal and plays a Mox Opal, so it does serve a purpose. Let me make sure that it's not on my end. That shouldn't be on my end. Hello, Canister. I see Seat of the Synod on the table. Is this legal? No, and that is exactly the point of this tournament. Same thing
He's
with
a phenomenal
Sensei's Divining
control
Top,
player.
which we see played by Schmitzter right now. Check the Discord server, alright. I'm checking. Imagine having access to so many great cards and choosing to play Emry. It is indeed a little bit of an interesting card. His deck also does not seem to contain humongous amounts of red mana, as it would need for the Underworld Breach combo to be there, but yeah, I mean, I guess turn 1 Emry is more powerful with Seed of the Synod, Mox Opal, that's just enough to play on turn 1, so that's better. It's like turn 4 or 5 and nobody has done anything, right? True. That is indeed kind of how this game goes so far. Not very quick, in fact, slower than normal Modern. But you can see Dom getting closer to his Dryad of Elysian Grove being activated and being ready to machine gun Schmitzer's life total with Valakur, just like we see in regular Modern. Although Morteferis bouncing the Saga again probably is going to slow down Dom's plan even a little bit harder. I'm not participating, I am just commentating. And also, well, taking care of like the other stuff. There will be a YouTube recap of the tournament, for sure. What would I have played? Probably Sultai Uro. As I was a deck that I ended up really liking right before the tournament. Well, not submission, but on Friday when I played some NPL Modern against some other players. But this was no Banlist. Why are they playing Amulet and Breach? Well, as you see, there is a Seed of Synod in play. There is a Sensei's Divining Top. There is also Mox Opals in Schmitzer's deck, so there's many banned cards available for both decks. Amulet also gets more powerful with access to Summer Bloom and Once Upon a Time. To a lesser extent, Green Sun Zenith maybe. But as you can see, this game definitely went the slower route. Players are not streaming through Discord as it was more convenient for me to do it this way. It's more doable this way, where they will be streaming through Ninja video website. Unfortunately, Sampardi's hand is invisible. I hope this issue will hopefully be resolved before the next round rolls. But for now, we'll let them play without knowing Schmitzer's hand, unfortunately, watching the side of Dom Harvey, who's unfortunately, let me uncover maybe the turn counter. Production value. Turn 5. It does feel like turn 1000. I guess you can see it in his hand. And no players have took meaningful game actions still. Well, they took meaningful game actions, but no players made truly impressive game actions so far. Does Bamzing's deck contain Svialun? Bamzing is the one player, I guess, wildcard player of the tournament, choosing to show up with one of the cards that come to the mind the least when you think of the modern ban list, I guess. As Bamzing is playing Monkey Flipping with Tybalt's Trickery and just cascading to Tybalt's Trickery. Bamzing turned on me twice just now. See? It works. Was it a turn 1 monkey though? Turn 1 Seaman Spirit Guide. Can see SMD Stair going for the combo, but Timely Boseju is there for Dom to stop his assault, let's say. Can quickly check Schmitzter's list to see if there is any 7 combo item. Yeah, truly the Banlist of modern being like it's the most vicious. Can take a quick look at their deck lists. Domes is a pretty classic Amulet Titan decklist with the banned cards, 1 Green Sanzini, 4 Summer Bloom, obviously 4 Once Upon a Time, and then pretty classic 1 Field of the Dead, very, very powerful addition to Amulet, but you don't really need to play too many of those, especially if you don't expect the greatness to be super common. On the other hand, Schmitzter's deck does not contain any really interaction, so now you can see player sideboarding. I have a scene prepared for that, so well, we're gonna go swap to this, but we didn't catch too much. And wait, why was it flipped? Too late to catch the player sideboarding, but we tried our best. Unfortunately, I was looking away and I didn't quite catch the finish of the game, but it seems like Dome is starting, which would imply that Schmitzter was capable of winning the first game. Capable of winning through that. Ooh, that was a pretty ugly Once Upon a Time, grabbing just a third copy of a bounce land. Virtually useless. Grabbing another one, so a play on the next turn is at least possible. Awkwardly deploying the Urza Saga on turn 2, making it a more juicy target for the Fairy Time Raveler. But I understand very well the desire not to play it out on turn 1, as that is not so attractive either when you don't have perspectives of doing anything with your mana on turn 3. So, hello, Will Hall XP, very nice to have you in the chat. This time Once Upon is very nicely grabbing a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Boseju was also an option, letting Dome keep up interaction for upcoming Underworld Breach, but rather unexciting. So definitely you would want to prioritize the ramp here, play bounce land, return probably honestly the castle, no, the forest. No, the forest makes a bit more sense. Next turn the Urza Saga is going to be popping, and it's going to be grabbing something from the deck, probably the amulet, unless Midster has anything to say about that. Anyone playing Cloudpost? There is actually a few Cloudpost players in this tournament. And we see the power of the artifact lands on full display by Schmitzter here. Wow, that was a pretty quick finish to that. Just playing Underworld Breach thanks to the power of Mox Opal. Well, it was both Mox Opal and Underworld Breach on full display. And I guess Underworld Breach is not banned, but it was the artifact lens enabling the Mox Opal, so that Smithster had no reason to play other artifacts to enable Metalcraft. Is there any chance to reorganize the UI, putting the bottom player name up at the top, maybe with the bottom indicator? Yes. Yes. We're going to work on that in the meantime. So with the UI, it's a little bit hard because this okay, it went a little bit unfortunately this round, as players have already started playing and the pairings were already announced before we have chosen our feature match, which meant we had to start playing and was a little bit inconvenient. Let me make sure that doesn't happen next turn. And we're going to look through the deck list, but also do a little bit of, in the meantime, stuff. I bet that people who frequent the freeform tournament practice queue are wondering why the hell it is popping off right now. Exactly. Exactly. The tournament has started and we were just done covering the first round. Unfortunately, for technological reasons, I only have one matchup with no backup, because it's hard enough for me as it is.
He's a phenomenal control player.
So not super familiar with MTG Melee TBH, but thank you very much for the sub, Vikutet. Technological reasons equals there is only one cancer on Earth. Partially that, yes, partially that. For the next round, we're going to make sure that both players' cams work before the round starts, and then we're going to maybe get a little bit of resizing of the UI to make sure that it fits. Oh yeah, we can restream Aspiring Spike or Doomwake or Gab playing in the tournaments. Let me have the battles open. Oh, it seems like they're all finished, their matches already. So you're gonna have to wait for a little bit. Let's take a look at the deck list that people have submitted then. Gab winning already is pretty impressive. Very quick for Gabriel, as he is known for his traditionally low deliberate playstyle. Any twin decks? I've seen players with twin decks. Unfortunately, most decks are named decklist because in MTG Melee, you can only choose from a select amount of names. You can't just name your deck willy-nilly. Whoops. Any regular blue-red magnet for science? No. I don't. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Cloudpost by Damin Karivek. We see Karn the Great Creator. Elvish Rejuvenator. Wow. I assume it's going to be Reclaimer, but it is Rejuvenator to find the Cloudpost lands. It does make sense. Decklist is the most percent of the meta, true. Taking advantage of the Chalice of the Void, Reclamation Sage as a green Sun Zenith target, 1 Ulamog, 1 Emrakul, 2 Primal Titan, and 3 Golos. After playing a bit with Cloudpost, this Cloudpost tends to produce pretty huge amounts of mana rather quickly, and you can do the old-time Tron thing where you're relying on your land 2 turns, not even expedition map in this deck, rather just Rejuvenator and Golos Tireless Pilgrim to find your Eye of Eugen, which then you can just use, grab your Emrakul, the Ion Stone, and play it to gain extra 10. So it's a pretty attractive strategy. Pretty cool stuff. For Endurance Maniac to acknowledge Hogak too, so well, nicely built list. Also Karan the Great Creator, right, with Mikos and Vlatis as the endgame. Any pods? Well, we'll see. 5 color. This is a Yorion Sky Nomad deck. With the colors being, seems like all 5. You get Unholy Heat, Abrupt Decay, Force of Negotiation, Path to Exile. Path to Exile notably I think is much better in this format than this in regular mode, and people are much less incentivized to try to fit the stupid basic into their deck, so. Let's get Ponder, Express Veteration, Arceum's Astrolabe 2 to fix the mana, makes perfect sense. 2 Endurances, 4 Uro, 4 Deathrite Shaman. 5 color deck playing Blood Moons in the sideboard is a little bit scary. I got to appreciate the Path to Exile, Assassin's Trophy, Blood Moon combination too, but well, looks like a very interesting deck list. 26 lands going very low with the cantrips to find it. Wow. Hogak. One thing I would be worried about is the low amount of graveyard hate against the Hogak decks, but why not do a odds bookmaking on who you think you will win? We should do that every round. Per round, I think. See who's going to do that. Where is the Yorion? The Yorion is in the sideboard. The gameplay will begin when the new round begins, as a few players are still battling it out.
He's a phenomenal control player.
The subscriptions will continue until morale improves.
Thank you very much. Who won the feature match? Schmidster won the feature match. So this Hogaglist playing one endurance to hedge for the mirror, I guess. Griefs, Bloodgast, Vengevines, mostly normal stuff that you expect out of a Hogak deck. 17 lands. Splashing red for Faithless Looting. Can be a spectator in the free play of MTGO. True, we can spectate the games without seeing the hands, but we can do that for like the extra matches. NBL Neravius. As we see Neravius and Octave battle out. That's actually a good idea for the like backup feature match. You can see the hands. Despite the appearance, the players are not top decking, but this board state, bros. Blood Moon. Counterbalance, Oko, Red and 6, Mox Opal. There is everything in here. While Neravius is battling it out with some, well, you'd say more fair creatures, but there is a Umezawa's Jite. Something for everybody, exactly. Sensei's diving top, making counterbalance much more of a threat. It still successfully countered the Deathrite Shaman, right? The Sensei Divining Top was revealed to counter the Deathrite Shaman, so it already did a good job. Oko and Ren, powerful planeswalkers, but are they going to be able to take care of the Jite equipped creatures? That is a little bit tough. The icon above the turn counter is not stacking abilities automatically. Can I show a round timer on screen so people know approximately how long they have until next round? That is an excellent suggestion, but I'm not sure how to do it easily from how to do it well from my end. People are definitely playing wild stuff. Sunforge Mystic of Umezawa's Jite, Bojuka Bog. So Bojuka Bog Ghost Quarter, I assume there might be. We haven't looked up at Neravi's decklist, but I assume there might be some Night of Reliquary stuff in Neravius' deck, honestly. With Dark Depths, yeah. Well, the Oko can produce an elk roughly every turn or something, but awkwardly, Ren and 6 is returning no lands to hand, thanks to Blood Moon, partially. Honestly, the play might have been to elk the GT given how much it destroys Octay right here. Yeah, the blood one definitely has a downside here, but we can only assume that. Well, we can look up Neravius's deck list. Not sure it's gonna find them by name, so that's a bit problematic because MTG Melee displays the names of players rather than like their nicknames. Why is it just some? It's a bit hard to look up the deck lists on the fly. It seems like Neravius has dominated with the Jitte in the meantime and defeated Octay. So the battle of the decks we've seen right now, it was the Absent deck. Oko, Teferi, Deathrite Shaman, Stoneforge Mystic. So this is Neravius's deck list with Kaldra Complete and Umezawa's GT. Now, is it a Dark Depths deck? No, it is a Field of the Dead deck. It's called Absent, but despite the 4 Uros right here, a 4-color deck list. Some Sanctified on Vex against Hogak and others. While Octay was playing Oko, red and 6, Gilded Goose, so it was an Urza deck with counterbalance and Expressive Iteration on top of that. I love how these decks either have like 30 band cards or I don't know, 8. Well, this list has what? 4 Astrolabe, 3 Uro, 4 Oko, 4 Moxopal. Top is banned. While Neravius' deck has 2 Once Upon, 4 Uro, Deathrite Shaman. There's many options there. The modern banlist is kinda deep, so you know, there's plenty of decks you actually can play.
He's a phenomenal control player.
No Banlist Modern Pog.
In the next battle, we see Mr. Fister and Takizawa playing some kind of a blue-red deck with Urza Saga and Mishra's Bubble against Mr. Fister something. A deck that looks kind of like a blue-green, let's say, well, an Oko deck, an Oko artifact deck, Urza Saga. The deck list in this match. Check for another reported stat. Oh, Piesek is checking. Bros, I have to admit, MTG Melee is not intuitive to me. using it is a little bit not trivial for me. As I'm not used to that, but the deck lists of both players are Sultai, Oko, Emry, Foot Monitor, Seat of the Synod, Three of Tails, Chalice, Mox Opal, Mishra's Bubble, Chrome Mox. Lots of Mox in 4 podcasts to redraw the cards after you Chrome Mox them away. Metallic Rebuke and Force of Negation. Interesting. So really focusing on turn 1 Chalice, Urza Sagaing a powerful army of constructs, and Mr. Fister has won the match against Izzet, who is once again Grinding Station Underworld Breach combination. Which means that we have all the okay, well, I got it. We don't have all the matches finished yet. So I have 2 more pairs playing. Oh, we've got a Hammer deck list fighting off against what looks like a Timur deck list. We only caught the last part of your match, Da Vinci, so we didn't quite get to see much here. I will take a quick break to take a bathroom break, bros, because it's been a little bit intensive for now for me, but see you in a few minutes.
Yay goif_daddy, let's go.
Let's go, Goif Daddy. You can do it. The feature match was Dom Harvey on Amulet Titan versus Smithster on Jeskai Underworld Breach. Smithster won with the combo fairly well, easily one match, and like I guess he won pretty easily both games, but the first one took a while. Pretty sure this match started late, by the way. It does seem like that, but there was like a little bit of a delay. At first, with organizational stuff, so it was a little bit hard at first. We'll let the players finish their match. But it would be great not to start late in the subsequent rounds. Hopefully that's going to be possible. So Goif Daddy is actually playing a Phoenix deck and is trying to, well, punish the Sanctifier on Vex with some flyers. Oko definitely making it much easier, producing green blockers that can actually successfully block the Sanctifiers. What is the average matchup length on game 1? 2 turns? Well, we haven't seen too many game 1s, but I would assume it's not that bad. Mental Misstep seems like a powerful tool against the Hammer deck, to be frank. And Goif Daddy wins the match.
He's a phenomenal control player.
That was enough
I'm
to
enjoying
break
this
Simon
event.
DS
Thanks for the
spirit.
organization, Kanye.
Alright, which means we have all the results for round 1. So now we need a few minutes to prepare the coverage of the second round before we go with the, well, second round for everybody. So round 2 pairings. Oh, whoa, GG, Goif Daddy. Yeah, good job, Goif Daddy. Alright, we have chosen the feature match for round 2. But let me set it up fully. Alright, so that we can start the round 2 for all the players. So if you're not the feature match, you can go to Freeform Tournament Practice and start battling it out as I figure out the stream from both players. Once again, technical issues with the top players. I think maybe I just fucked up something over here, but you don't see my pairing. How do I do it, chat? It should be on MTG Melee. I think it would be cool just spectating of MTG without hands showing. Well, I think we can do better, so we're gonna try. Why the hell doesn't it work? Bros, I'm afraid that my elaborate setup just doesn't fucking work the way I wanted it to. Round time ended, perfect. Which I guess seems that we have to come back to watching from MTGO. Which means we won't have access to players' hands. Alright, let me do a little bit of a test. Anything happens here? No, nothing happens here. Just loading screen. Oh, yeah, I cannot see the streams from the players. Unfortunately, the function is not working as smoothly as I was wishing for it, so we're going to be following the stream of both players. Mr. Fister. Without the hand being shown. Friends, I have to say, taking care of this tournament is a bit tricky. And we're here. We're going to see the match between Savior Numbers and Mr. Feaster. A Lurus deck versus the artifact deck that we have just seen. Oh, Lurus does mean Norko nor Hogak, as Savior is playing Hammeroni. You're gonna watch a match between Esper Hammeroni with Moxopal, Ancient Den, Skull Clamp, and Gitaxian Probe, and Mental Misstep. Facing off against the... Oh... for Chalice of the Void deck, which is probably a little bit hard for the Hammer deck. Seed of the Synod. Yeah, Chalice of the Void seems like a tough one, a tough nut to crack, but besides that, the Hammer deck has speed. As you can see, the Inkmoth Nexus Memnite opening is truly formidable, right? You could see something like Moxopal activate Inkmoth Nexus for Metalcraft to get access to colored mana. Or we could see just attacking for 1 poison damage, which is amongst the lesser scary plays. Pretty important fact is that Savior numbers Mulgan to 5 cards this game, making their hand a bit smaller. And that's probably the cause for the unthreatening opening. Is anyone attempting to cast Dread Return? I'm not sure of Dread Return being... in anyone's deck, to be frank. So at least one person with Dread Return. Alright, in that case, yes, there was a Dread Return deck, as we've got one player playing Oops All Spells, which is certainly a way to use Dread Return, as it does make the package requisite to kill with Oops All Spells much smaller. You just need like 4 Narcomoebas, 2 Dread Return, 2 Thassa's Oracle if you don't want to risk drawing them. And losing because of the fact that you have drawn it. Sunforge Mystic grabbing Skull Clamp, a card that can be flashed in through Chalice of the Void. So it is at least active in that sense, while Mr. Fister has deployed the Chalice, and that's kinda it for now. Skullclamp can also be used to make the Ornithopter into a threatening 1/1 flyer instead of the usual 0/2 body that we are familiar with. And here goes the Skullclamp, short-lived presence certainly. But the Stoneforge Mystic in play certainly opens up lots of possibilities. Play a Pure Sea Paladin and flash in a hammer will suddenly put pressure on Mr. Fister. Although Emery is ready here to assemble some card advantage every turn. Mishra's Bubble already there in the graveyard. Actually milled over by the ability, very convenient. Well, now the ball is in Mr. Fister's court. It's to finish the game and not die to those Inkmob Nexuses. We'll see if he's going to manage. Dread Return kinda seems like the most passive thing to be doing. Well, Dread Return requires some effort to put into your deck to make it work. So, while the raw power is here, it does have a relatively high setup cost and requires you to do some things that are not necessarily easy, I think. Dredging seemed a little bit hard with all the missteps being available to players, mental missteps. It is rather easy to play looting and then got easily stopped. You keep on your faithless looting, you try to use it as your enabler, but then if that gets misstepped, you just like often get stopped really hard. On top of that, Leyline of the Void is a card you need to remove, and well, you often want to remove it with 1 mana cards, where mental misstep once again becomes an issue. I'm kinda shocked how many fair decks there are among the deck lists. True. Well, it is probably like generally true that people do enjoy playing the fair decks. Which I think in a tournament like this, there is gonna be a percentage of players who are just happy to play Hogak Mirrors or Eldrazi's, but a large amount wants to put the pet banned card into their pet deck, and that does create that little bit of a, I guess, surprising to some amount of stuff. It is also true that the fair decks, like many people enjoy the idea of playing with Oko, right? As Oko is a really powerful fair card to the point where some could call it unfair. Are there any Eldrazi decks? There is a few Cloudpost decks. I think there was one Eldrazi deck I've seen for sure, but not 100%. Would need to take a specific look. Ooh, now with the Chalice on both 1 and 2. Savior is going to struggle to put anything of substance into play. Yeah, Runst, it's playing post Eldrazi, which is a bit different, but I guess it is still an Eldrazi deck using Cloudpost to power them out more easily. I like the Cloudpost build in the fact that it also means that you can activate Eye of Eugene with relative ease, as that alone means that your land that produces 2 mana early in the game for your Fodnot Seers and similar is also your end game. You just put an Eldrazi or 2 in your deck, and that way you have your end game covered. You can use your Eye of Fusion in the late game, tap your Cloudpost for 7 mana to grab your big Eldrazi, and then that is a way to win the game. In a normal Eldrazi deck, you might have trouble reaching 8 total mana.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Pod and Twin are fair cards now. Misstep, Probe, not. Alright. You are the judge. You're going to be the judge of that. And that's fair. Savior is deploying, well, one of the few remaining cards that can be played out of his deck, which was Lurus of the Dream Den. Now that it's being dealt with, the Chalice on 1 and 2 is going to leave Savior with just 0 drops as plays, and this Urza's Sagas is finally a way in which Mr. Fister can use the advantage to card advantage and the like power of the lock pieces assembled to actually win the game. And as we see, well, a concession here. Can't take a look at player sideboarding, but we can take a look at free subtlety, free Harky's recall against the hammer deck. They probably come in handy. Some dismembers to fight up against the creatures, and Boseju to have some extra interaction with artifacts on enchantments. Chalice of the Void is a great plan against that deck. Tormod Script is definitely not necessary against the hammer deck. On the other side, we see a decklist that is unfortunately not very well prepared to fight off against Chalice of the Void. Skipping those Seals of Primordium, I see, or March of Prismatic Ending maybe, or March of Otherworldly Light, all would work. But they're not being present in the sideboard right now. Which means that Nicholas needs a really fast start to... I don't know if I need to rejoin the match to watch. Really needs to get under that Chalice, and it is a bit hard when Mr. Fister's deck contains What's 8 Moxen? Full 8 Moxen, damn. Oh, we get to watch the game now. Nice, I lost so much life with Shadow that I wasn't able to use my Fetchland on turn 3. Truly a Kid Action Probe experience. I'm not running any decks as I am the one who's running and organizing this tournament. I am not competing myself. Instead, I am commentating over the matches. We had some technical difficulties with the accessibility of players' handcams, which I wanted to get access to, but we'll try the next round, hopefully. So Savior probed on the first turn, and we don't know what he has seen. Can only guess. But it's a very impressive start. Moxopal shining here. Memnite, Moxopal, Urza's Saga, Colossus Hammer. Even if Mr. Fister plays a Chalice on turn 1, well, there's just not that many cards left in Savior's number hand. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that that does let Savior draw a card from Esper Sentinel Trigger, and Urza's Saga is just a big enough way threat to win the game itself. With 4 artifacts in play already, maybe some Ancient Dance coming later. So we see a humble Chromox pay for Esper Sentinel. Exiling a Metallic Rebuke, followed up by Mishra's Bubble. I have to say, Esper Sentinel probably quite a bit weaker in this format than it is typically. As I guess when players tend to play more than one spell per turn, it's really much less of a problem, I guess. You just play lots of spells and it only triggers once. I'm not sure if that logic really follows. Oh, too, so I get to watch the rest of the stream. Let's go. Based. Very based. So Savior had the extra land. It was even under Urza's Saga, so even like an Oko, it's not gonna do too much. Not paying for Esper Sentinel, keeping up that blue Seed of the Synod mana to play a turn 2 Thought Monitor. That's quite fast. Plenty of cards still available, plenty of mana, I guess, available for Mr. Fister, but tapping the Urza's Saga to make a construct that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 power creature. 6 power creatures, 7 power, 2 7 power creatures. So really, Mr. Fister is gonna depend on those Harky's Recall comings to save the day for him. He has 3 copies, so the odds are not bad, but that's probably like really not much else that saves from the constructs except a Saga on his own, but that probably would be too slow. Am I considering turning this into a regular thing? I had a lot of fun. Well, we're 1.5 round deep into this. I think the reception has been mostly positive so far with chatters. But let's just not... let's spend a little bit in the moment before we like jump into the future, I think. And speaking of the future, my cat is pestering me to feed her, so as Savior is choosing a target from his Urza Saga, I will grab a piece of food for them. We're back. Oh, what happened in the meantime? A construct has been made. Piffing Needle on Boseju who endures. Very nice. Memnite has been blocked. And Lurus of the Dream Den has not been touched yet. So Memnite just attacked in the Thought Monitor, which makes sense. If you make a construct next turn, you have 8, then 9 power and play another maybe 0-drop artifact. That's 10 power. I'm not sure about that attack, but maybe there are some bigger plans. Piffy Needle, in fact, does block the channel ability of Boseju who endures, so Boseju can no longer be used as a removal spell. And Shadow Spear seems like an extremely reasonable card to grab here, as getting access to Trample seems powerful. Oh, and here we see the absolute blowout. Hawkeyes Recall. A really effective sideboard card in this situation. Dealing with all 3 constructs, returning 4 1-drops that cannot be replayed through Chalice, returning the Mox Opal and the Artifact Land. A truly destructive play. Seems like a nice sideboard card against the Hammer deck. It really hurt Savior numbers this round that he forgot to pack the removal for Chalice, or maybe just, well, omitted it intentionally, but I assume like it's very easy when in an event like that not to have a full grasp on what you're going to end up facing, and like, you know, I assume most didn't like do super much testing, so Not having Chalice answers in a deck that is a 1-drop deck is probably something that you could miss, but you wouldn't want to play like that for a prolonged amount of time. Which means you can go with and look at some extra matches that are still being played. There is, let me check. Still 4 matches happening. You can watch Adam GRI battling it out against Charlie QDs. Charlie QDs playing a 4-color Yorion, Field of the Dead, Uro. I guess once upon a time type of a deal. Well, Adam GRI with a simpler affinity deck list using Oko as an extra threat. And I think, well, Mox Opal is indeed green. I think it does. We have seen a situation where, given the Uro in the graveyard, which can be escaped only thanks to this Arcum's Astrolabe, otherwise not enough blue mana in play, is probably going to put this game out of reach. I guess it's not a given. There is also the Urza Saga Construct token. There is the Aether Spellbomb to interact. Lots of stuff happening. The construct will be 1, 2, 3 powers. It can block, well, the legendary creature Elk. Omnath, Locus of Creation, is green after all. That has never been not true. You got the turn 2 Kiln Fiend kill. On what end was it? Of what end of the kill were you on? And Charlie QDS wins, but there is still gonna be an extra game. Keep in mind that by watching it the way we're watching it, we gonna have a natural bias against we have a natural bias towards the games that go longer, so we're more likely to look at games of grindy matchups, while there is also the turn to kill aspect of the format, which is also present. I'm watching Spike, watching Nassif, watching you. Truly nice, truly nice. So Adam GRI underscore MTG going first, and I'm assuming pondering their opening hand choices, both keeping 7. Starting with Once Upon a Time. Let's take a quick look at Adam's deck list. Conveniently named deck list. It is Oko, Emery, Ledger Shredder in Affinity, Mox Opal Chalice, Seat of the Synod, Chrome Mox 2. Quite similar to the Mr. Fister deck list, in fact. Leyline the Void, Fluster in the sideboard, all that nice stuff. While the Yorion Vurg deck list, it's a little bit harder to parse, as it contains Oko, Teferi Ren, Omnath Solitude, Iceman, Coatl, Uro Endurance, Primeval Titan 2. I see we're not pulling any punches. Prismatic Ending as removal, Unholy Heat, Path to Exile as removal, Once Upon for extra consistency. Doesn't grab the Planeswalkers but grabs all of the creatures. No counter magic, who needs that? Just like fights with the raw power and 2 copies of Field of the Dead in a 29 land mana base with some extreme sideboard card. Interestingly, Soulgate Lantern over Leyline makes sense in the Yorion deck. Ooh, Force of Vigor, killing of the Mox Opal and Urza's Saga. Always tough to be on the receiving end of that. Ledger Shredder has connived away Mox Opal. It's actually a pretty nice combination. I disregarded Ledger Shredder as a powerful card. But being able to connive extra Mox Opals or Chrome Moxen seems fairly okay. Yeah, Force of Double Stone Rain and Ledger Shredder is green. A 4/4 Elk. No, a 4/4. At least it has the counter, so it's able to, you know, attack through any of the elks that Charlie QDS is going to be able to produce. And Adam is able to play Zonoko, passing to make a food token, ready to attack with an elk on the next turn. We'll see what response is Charlie going to be able to master. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. With 4 cards already in the graveyard. Could be escaped next turn. But that's one. Ooh, missing the land drop from Uro is a little bit painful here. I guess now Charlie can't escape next turn even if if a fetch land gets drawn, given that snow-covered plains does not help you cast Uro. And there's one extra thing about Uro, it's, I guess, much less powerful when it is green and an elk. Neither of the players is using the new flash enchantment that removes non-land permanents. Charlie had 4 Unholy Heat and 3 Prismatic Ending that can deal with Oko. Adam's decklist cannot really remove Oko from the battlefield in ways other than the traditional one. Which means that we'll see... Well, we see the traditional way just happening, so... The Yorion deck has 4 Prismatic Ending, as I said, 4 Unholy Heat, so that's like 8 cards that can answer Oko right there. It's pretty convenient. Bouncing, unfortunately not a token, but a Ledger Shredder, giving Adam a real card back. I think they just play their own Oko and hope it's good enough. With Oko, it's a little bit... It's always a little bit tricky. Oko is really a card that tends to make the boards stall really hard. That tends to make the games freeze to a halt. And, you know, both players just like, especially if both players control an Oko, are just like kind of... If it doesn't go out of its way, if it doesn't get stomped, like we've seen in this game, one Oko got stomped by the other Oko. That happens sometimes, but if it doesn't happen, then truly a nightmare of a board stall where every creature that is important becomes an elk, and then everything just trades, but nothing really can attack because You're never really gaining anything by attacking. Begins. As I'm cleaning my glasses, I don't see what is happening here, but yet another force of vigor. Not quite powerful. Not quite that powerful right here, just dealing with an artifact land and a food token, which shows, I guess, the smart choice of threats in Adam's affinity deck. Ledger Shredder not being targetable by Force of Vigor seems to really be very, very important here. Same for Oko. You can use the artifact mana base to support Urza's Saga and to power up your Mox Opal, but then it makes sense to try to cast different card types off of those powerful mana bases. Did anyone register Reanimator? I have not seen a Reanimator deck yet. I would have thought Storm might have been a deck, but have not seen it yet. Storm assuredly should be a deck in the format. After all, it is a 40, how many players exactly have we had entered? 46. Was 42, whatever. So it could be a matter that, nobody just registered a deck that is powerful. Charlie QDS, we don't see Charlie's hand right here, but we can make a very educated guess about the fact that there is a solitude in Charlie's hand, given that no plays have been made earlier. Given that there is been turns where Charlie missed land drops, and we can assume that he's not just skipping the turn. Did do some testing with Storm and it felt good and fast. Might have been kind of vulnerable. A lot of reliance on the graveyard, which the format already hates. True. Belcher might be a better Storm, but also it might be a worse Storm. But yeah, Storm had many cards banned throughout the history, and it's also a little bit of a tricky deck to build. Well, Song of Creation is a Storm deck, I guess. We did some Storm building. The Fairy Time Raveler being attacked by both Ledger Shredders because of the perceived solitude, I guess, and just kidding, it was actually Unholy Heat. With 2 cards left in hand, Oko at 9 counters, already far away from being a possible target for the Unholy Heat. So unfortunately for Charlie, that is not gonna be a valid one. Fetching an untapped Hallowed Fountain and the Ice Fan Coatl though to block the other. Ooh. Block the other one, but that was truly unfortunate. Plains, Forest, and Boseju, which meant that Windswept Heath couldn't have fetched. A basic land to cast the Coatl. Killing the birds over Emery is definitely a choice, as the Emery is running away with the game being essentially dark confident, and also helping the ledger shaders connive a bunch. Oh, Omnath. If there is a way to come back, then Omnath is maybe it. Misty Rainforest, perfect fetch land. Can now follow up with fetching an island, maybe playing Uro from the graveyard. Maybe triggering the last chapter of Omnath's landfall ability, which would deal 4 damage to Oko, which would bring him from 11 counters to 7 counters. So it wouldn't really make that big of a difference, but you do what you can do, right? But no, instead we see Prismatic Ending, and something other than Uro is going to be cast, as blue mana has been consumed for the Prismatic Ending. Choosing to target a Ledger Shader, okay. Damn, I really wonder what's like... Oh, that's the reason to do so, and then... Oh, you're gonna Alchify the Ledger Shader? Turning into a 6/6. That's a big, like, draw to those cards with +1/+1 counters. Like, elking them is just not that attractive. Well, casting King Uro has a pretty big downside, right? If you cast King Uro here, he immediately becomes an elk. Choosing to play Mox Opal. So some powerful play potentially coming from Adam's side. Yeah, Heat Emery and Prismatic Ending Dioko was definitely an option. I wouldn't say the Bears don't do much, but I actually really like the way Adam built his deck with Ledger Shaders to just connive away the extra copies of legendary yet powerful cards like Oko, Emery, Mox Opal, Chrome Mox. They're all like Chrome Mox, not quite legendary, but almost legendary. You almost never want to like play 2 copies of that. The only thing that the Ledger Shaders are lacking is some Uros to connive away and then escape from your graveyard at little opportunity cost. Which would seem attractive, although there's many options and hard to fit all of them at the same time to your deck. Or the Elspeth, yeah, the Elspeth would also, I guess, potentially do something. Co piesek robi? Wychodzisz? A dobrze. Melee claims the round has 4 minutes. Is it a mistake? It does claim that, but we like go by the clocks on Magic Online anyways, because so I guess it is not a mistake, but it's also not true. So yeah, King Uro joins the board, probably becomes an elk. Yep. It does make it harder for Adam to attack. Although Charlie has nothing. No, Charlie doesn't have nothing. Charlie has Yorion available still. I forgot about that. Not grabbing Yorion to his hand this turn. All this tournament is telling me is that Oko was the one needed to be banned and not Opal. We need justice. It is true that we've seen a few Force of Vigor being cast. And they're pretty punishing as Okos. Not Okos, rather, but pretty punishing for the player casting the Force of Vigor, I guess, by Okos, but they're also pretty punishing for the Mox Opals. No -5 to steal Uro. If you read Uro, and if you read Oko Thief of Crowns, you will realize that the -5 ability only can only affect cards that cost 5, not cost 5, no, have 3 or less power, I think. So there is a limitation put on that ability. There's some movements being made. Oh, Metallic Rebuke on the late game once upon a time. Adam with just 3 minutes on the clock. Unfortunately, this game might go to... might be decided by clock. Especially since it like seems like there's a non-zero amount of lag on Adam's end. Which is, you know, pretty typical to see Yorion being played and then grace us with players timing out. There is no draws in this tournament, so we have to play this till the conclusion. Although Adam is also gonna make an extra construct and is gonna attack for quite a lot. A second construct, grab a 1-mana artifact, which is gonna be like Ether Spellbomb, I assume. Maybe some other better target, Shadow Spear. Ether Spellbomb, is that... Is it? Okay. There was a bug that Ura triggered even if it was an elk, I think, but I'm not sure if it's like in place right now. Oko... Did Oko do anything? Replay a FOT monitor? Yeah. Play the monitor for 2. Podcast. Well, Adam, I'm sad to tell you, but you do have 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes on the clock. So maybe it is not the time to podcast away, but rather to turn those creatures sideways. Ooh, Tormod Script, nice. Deals with Uro. Means that you can attack into Uro more easily. Let's go. 6-8-3-3. What's the Oko use this turn? I think the Oko wasn't used this turn. Ooh, Force of Negation, saving the day. Saving the humongous Ledger Shredder. Unfortunately, a potentially lethal connive is going to be put on the stack, and we see that Adam takes a while to connive with, can assume, Modo lag. Discarding some extra Oko. Yeah, having a 7-power attacker. Although now, is that lethal? Uro goes to 6. Goes to +3. goes to 16. After which Uro dies, then Oko can make a Mox Opal into a creature, which puts Adam at 14, 17, yeah, just Spellbomb the Orion and then attack for 12, 14, 15, Spellbomb the Orion, Elk, the Mox Opal and attack for lethal. With 1 minute 30 on the clock, Adam GRI is managing to attack for lethal damages. Pretty impressive, honestly. Pretty impressive showing from the Affinity deck. I thought it's like gonna be the type of a deck that is going to struggle a little bit against maybe the 4-color deck, but I guess Yorion is Yorion. Like in every format, it does look like that, right? So it was a really nice game to watch, honestly, even without having access to players' hands. It was a pretty cool experience. But with that being the last match of the series, we are going to try to perform a full feature match once again. This was the end of round 2. We're gonna have 6 rounds in the top 8. I think some of the Euron gamers' choice at the beginning influenced this quite heavily. Well, I think, see, like, there's also the fact that the creatures that Charlie omitted to kill, that he didn't want to kill, were the legendary ones, which there's probably like new copies of them in hand, likely. Hmm. Alright, so we're going to try to prepare the coverage of the next round. bros. We're working on it. Pairings should be up for everybody. I think, or like they should be as soon as Armek clicks. Because I can click it, publish pairings. They have already been published, okay. Spicy Lash, are you in the chat? Tell me. As you're trying to perform the feature match. I do have a Discord. Can you message me on Discord? Or like where I can message you, because you don't have a Discord ping in your MTG Melee. Spike cheaty mg. Why is Spike cheaty mg? Right, arranging the thing. Spike is looking at opponent's decklist. It is fully fair as it is a open decklist tournament. So alright, I have the feed from one of the players. Now if I get the feed from the second player, we can start beginning bros. Which would be incredible. Feed. No, I mean feed. F-E-E-D. Much different than feed. Of course. Feed, yeah, exactly. Very well put, chat. You always know what to say. Alright, I got the feed from both players, so now I need to do a little bit of arranging. So bear with me. Properties 0. Uh, right, there's gonna be a bunch of stuff for me to do. Oh, but also it's working. Slowly but surely. Properties. What was that? Jump scare. And we're ready to go. I have prepared browse around. It was all done on screen. Took way too long. Was medium professional, but it's really hard. Bouncing is playing monkey flipping. And is winning with that deck. It's 2-0. Although we see Spicy Lash going with a turn 1 Inquisition of Kozilek, taking away Bamzing's Cascade Man. Which means that now Spicy Lash has a bit more time and a bit more breathing room before Bamzing tries to top deck a Cascade spell again. The draw step is failing him, but Spicy Lash here with Ghost Quarter. Given that the tournament is open deck list and they know what is in their decks, Spicy Lash is fully aware of the fact that Bamzing's deck does not contain any basic lands, so... Ooh, we see Bamzing top decking the Violent Outburst right on time, right before Marit Lage is getting made next turn. Alright, what is gonna hit? Is it gonna be an Emrakul, an Omniscience, a Brilliant Ultimatum? Or a Simian Spirit Guide. Such a classic moment recaptured on this stream. Let's go. Just like in the old times. Only a measly monkey. Bros, how I missed that. I missed that a bit. Like, not super much, but I missed that a little bit. But this is like the typical experience of playing the Tybalt's Trickery deck. Spicy Lash wasting no time, just cracking away with the Marit Lage, and now the players are going to move to sideboarding. Which formatting here doesn't quite work, and I guess, well, we don't have the, sorry. We don't actually have the sideboarding screen. I forgot that technology is not that good. Spicy Lash leading a game. We'll just see like bits of the sideboarding happening. Which is maybe not the highest production value, but honestly not too much in Spicy Lash's sideboard, right? There's just the Boseju, I guess, to kill the lands, although does Bamzing have no basics, but what about the lands with types? Maybe some shocklands at least? Bamzing's deck list contains no lands to fetch off Boseju except for 2 basics in the sideboard. Alright. Makes perfect sense. And now the players progress till game 2. Luru's chosen as the companion. Okay. We see no cascade for Bamzing, so probably Mulligan. And we see turn 2 into the North for depths. Assassin's Trophy in the meanwhile. I assume Bamzing boards his basics. So it's not gonna be as easy to too much stuff. Bamzing Mulligans and keeps 2 cascade deck spells against the discard spell deck. Unfortunately, Otawara not looking too great at casting those Violent Outbursts, but can still top deck a land and summon a Monkey or an Omniscience or an Emrakul. We will see. Spicy Lash kept a relatively slowish hand and leads on a needle. What is he going to name though? Can't quite see the name. What's the name, bros? It's Boseju, who endures. Makes perfect sense. And rips, Bamzing just straight up rips a Monkey, and this time hits a more threatening card, an Omniscience into a turn 2 Emrakul, the Eon Storm. The Piffing Needle is not gonna protect Spicy Lash from that. Bros, that's not gonna protect it from that. The Tibalt Silkery hits yet another Emrakul, giving Bamzing 2 turns to just attack for lethal without ever giving a chance to like pretend to do anything. That was so funny. Alright, well, Spicy Lash, 6 discard spells, so probably going to look to mulligan to those pretty hard, honestly. I think Trickery is safe to unban. Based on the results of the first game, it is safe to unban. Based on the results of the second game, not so much. I couldn't sleep, so I'm back for a minute, and I think Bamzing's build is fantastic for the meta. It's honestly not too stupid, right? Like the neither Force of Vigor nor Chalice of the Void, yeah. Well, Chalice of the Void, Leyline of the Void. Those cards don't do anything, and there's not as many natural counter spells in players' decks. So it does actually seem like a legit choice, and like he is too alright after all. Yeah, Mental Misstep ignored. Oko, to an extent ignored, although I can imagine creating a Kozilek, passing the turn, and getting it elked has to hurt. Spicy Lash with Urborg Inquisition of Kozilek hand, getting ready to take care of Bamzing's Cascade spell. Making Bamzing's hand, hitting the hand so hard that it disappears. Unfortunately, it's hard to overcome all the technical difficulties. So I think we're going to have to play the rest. Oh, the Bamzing hand is back. Urza Saga into Shadow Spear. Not so hot. Bamzing drawing both basic lands, making it so that Assassin's Trophy is back to being a sinkhole if Spicy Lash so chooses now. Instead, though, choosing to save the trophy and just make the constructs to pressure Bamzing. I'll take a look at your funny clip after this match is over, MLEX, so you can link it. I don't think many players register Eldrazi's. Which like probably comes from the fact that many people don't want to play Eldrazi's. Through the Top, which was supposedly a target for the Urza Saga. What are the other targets available? Piffing Needle for Boseiju. Can't see much else. Unfortunately, screen sharing from like other players always going to have a little bit of an issue. Choosing to go with Chrome Mox to obtain some extra mana. 2 green mana, but also a black mana available from the Urborg. How many colorless lands can you fit in a 2-color deck with a black mana requirement? I think Urborg is doing some heavy lifting here. But there is definitely downsides to playing Saga in the Depths deck. A Spicy Lash attacking for 4 damage, and then also choosing to attack the basic land with Assassin's Trophy. Well, Bamzing is considering his options, it seems, and chooses not to do anything. Two monkeys, okay. Almost makes you want to keep the Boseiju in hand if you draw the Cascade, you can play it anyways. Yet Bamzing chooses to play it out. Fair and square. Ooh, and we see Bamzing getting punished as Spicy Lash continues to go after the mana base. Not true, there is a Yavimaya on board, you are right. The Yavimaya makes the basic island tap for green too, so... Violent Outburst is still an out. And a Violent Outburst into Tybalt's Trickery into Omniscience could definitely go a long way. But, as it stands, well, Bamzing can play a monkey. Which leaves him with no outs, I believe. 2 Thoughtseize for good measure. You know, this time skipping the Violent Outburst into Tybalt's Trickery into play the monkey part, right? Just play the monkey immediately. hand contains nothing, so Spicy Lash is going to become the champion of this game. I believe, well, maybe something that I don't expect will happen, but Bamzing is already beginning to phase out of existence, as I believe it is game 3. If you look on the screen, there is like 1-1 on the like bottom middle left. Right, 2 lives for Bamzing, and Spicy Lash wins the game. Alright, so Spicy Lash becomes a 3-0 gamer, pretty admirable score. Already having this many wins in a 6-round tournament, while Bamzing falls to 2-1. It's a really nice showcase of the deck from both sides. Very nicely put. Allegedly, we have a funny clip from Doomwing stream, so let's take a look at that. It's titled Ruffle. Are you ready? Oops, all spells.
Forward pass, huh? It's a good draw step. That is, in fact, a good draw step. I'm going to play the card Crater.
He's gonna grab a crypt and it's gonna get countered.
Maybe they just have force in their hand.
He's clueless, which makes it funny. Oh yeah, I'll just grab Tormod's crypt. Haha, stop the effect.
Oh my god! No!
We've all seen it. We've all seen it. Before it happened. Oh. Tough. Can watch TSP Hendrix rest of the game. That was a pretty funny clip. Indeed. Over there, we've got Welding Jar to protect the Seed of the Synod, turn 1 Emery against Yendrix Ponder. Standing. I guess I should have a command for that, so give me a moment. Because there's standings on melee, right? So we're gonna go... Wait, where is standings on melee? Standings. How do I link to standings on melee? I guess just tournament view. Add com standings. I guess just link to that and it's gonna help. Can you see the hand and the revealed cards? Those cards are, I think, revealed by Fotzis. So we know that Mr. Fister has those 4. Not very powerful. But is casting a Chalice of the Void. Monkey flipping is indeed a good version of Hypergenesis. Much less weaknesses, and you get a monkey sometimes that is more enjoyable. Let's take a look at Yendrek's decklist. We've already seen Mr. Fister's decklist. But Jendrik is playing Sultai, Oko, Thief of Crowns, 4 Deathrite Shaman, 2 Endurance, 2 Uros, 2 Treasure Cruise Uros, Potsy Sponder, G-Pro, Mental Mister Negation, Deprive. If that's the most Jendrik thing I've ever seen. And we should all be aware that Counterspell is legal in this format, yet the unique synergy with between Deprive and Mystic Sanctuary makes some people just want to play it. And we will see a Shockland being picked up right here. Yes, we do. We do see a Watery Grave walk back to Yendrik's but worry not, and Uro is going to help with that soon. Finally, the Emry really doesn't do anything, as there is just a Chalice of the Void in the graveyard, and I don't think casting it on 2 accomplishes much, because all of the Yendrik's cards are either 1 mana or 3 mana. I guess it stops remaining deprives. Forcing 2 lands. Exiles Force using Force. Fair. Oh, I can cast Fog Monitor from the graveyard. Okay, that was a pretty big omission. You're right. I looked at the graveyard and I was looking at the colorless cards, and obviously it's like an artifact too, so you can cast it too. There is welding jars. I guess there's a decision to be made. Maybe saving the lands over the jars is worth it. It probably is, honestly. At least one, then you replay the jar. So it's like double strip. My mother has 2 welding jars ready to protect. Okay, letting one of the seats go. You cannot play artifact lands with Emry, but you can replay a welding jar, so I guess that makes it easier to recast the Fog Monitor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Can't cast the Monitor just now though. Lacking 1. Oh! The Chrome Mox exiling nothing, I think. Exiling a Chrome Mox. Wait, what? Shouldn't even be possible, so that seems like a modo bug. Did it just not? No, okay, those are just 2 Moxen. Okay, I got debated. Those are 2 Moxen not exiling anything. This is not a Chrome Mox exiling a Chrome Mox. I got confused. Pretty hard by the cards stacking on top of each other. So that was definitely a streaming moment. And a Fog Monitor from the graveyard resolves, which seems like it should pose a problem for Jendrik's deck. If Uro doesn't come home soon for Jendrik, then just the damage from the Fog Monitor is gonna be unbearable. Well, Mr. Fister is continuously playing more draw 2s. Loss of negation, stopping it. But there is another one. Imagine playing a War's Kite Shield. I mean, it's not like Kite Shield would do anything on this board either. Because equip free. So is it really a War's Kite Shield when it's like literally the same? A pretty high amount of players chose to go with Artifact Lens for this tournament though. And that makes me wonder how, like, if those cards are actually maybe especially now with Fog Monitor existing. Like, we've seen 2 players going with the Tree of Tales, Seed of the Synod maxed Okodex. Powering up Fog Monitor. But we've also not seen many Stony Silences, and I can imagine Stony Silence being a bit problematic. I think it's more about Opal than them just being good. Well, the Opal, but also like they both play Vodkas and Fod Monitor, which seems like a very powerful thing. Let's watch Phantoman going through the game. Phantoman playing a Sultai Oko deck seems similar to the one I played on stream the last day with Iceland Coatl and the Snow Sap theme. Assume Astrolabe 2. Facing off against Taurin 24 with a Chromox powered Underworld Cookbook Asmorano deck. Alright, so all the artifact synergies in one place. And of course, can't forget Uro, too, who didn't have the Mox Amber. With the ability on the stack, maybe it's not relevant. Maybe he wants to keep Mox Amber later, for a later use. But we're gonna see an Uro escaping. There's been no Eldrazi players on stream. Let me see if there's an Eldrazi player still playing. Maybe we can try to hunt one of these. Seems like no Eldrazi games happening right now. There's not too many Eldrazi's in the tournament in general. Unfortunately, like most of the archetypes are listed as just deck lists, so can't quite know how many of them. Could crack a food here, choosing not to, okay. And Phantoman is, well, you guessed it, escaping an Uro from the graveyard onto the battlefield. Where is my deck list? I am not a player in this tournament. I am an organizer and a commentator. So there is no deck list that I'm playing in the streamer. There is no deck list that I'm playing in this tournament. There's been at least a few Hogak decks. The Edric Schmidt was actually 2-0, wow. Yeah, there is Underworld Cookbook because Taurin 24 is choosing to play with Asmorana Mardikada Istina Kuldakar. U 3 Okos, 1 Oko, Ledger Sheller, Daredevil, Emry, Asmo, Uro, Urza, Cookbook, and all that stuff. Interesting combinations of cards, focusing on the artifact synergies. Asmorana just like small removal, I guess. There's a Hogas deck right here. Engelsdorfer, currently 1-1. With a pretty neat, pretty clean deck list of the Hogak deck. Johan Popper played Eldrazi Big with Cloudpost. Most people choosing to play non-Eldrazi decks. I guess that might be not too fun for most. Oh, and over here, Deathrite Shaman exiling an Uro. A huge blow. How many Ponder / Brainstorm / Preordain decks? Brainstorm is not legal in the format whatsoever, right? Because it's never been in Modern. It's not banned in Modern. I've seen some decks playing Ponder and Preordain, but not too many actually. Like most decks actually... Oh, there is an Eldrazi deck here. Cloud Ghost. Shoal Infect. Just one player with Shoal Infect. Unfortunately, like MTG Melee doesn't display the like Modo nicknames, but rather the actual names, which makes it a bit confusing to like then decipher who's who. Oh, 2 with Shoal Infect. Yeah, a little bit low, maybe on like... This is a two card combo with no redundancy, just 4 Progenitus, 4 Blazing Shoal, and you literally have to draw both. And the Infect creature has to live, so maybe a little bit shaky on those grounds, but a very neat deck. And of course, you have Oko out of the sideboard subtlety too. True, once upon its redundancy can help you find Progenitus or some of the creatures. Not too many creatures and lands in this deck though, so not the best once upon deck in the world, but interesting. It's nice that it grabs either Blighted Agent or Progenitus. Here I think, I'm actually not sure who's favored anymore. They're grinding pretty hard, bros. Taurin 24 with a 14/14 construct token, but of course 14/14 means a free construct token on the next turn. Asmorano with 4 food tokens ready to shut down maybe Uro and Deathrite Shaman, or just the food token. So I think Taurin is actually pulling ahead. In the meantime, also the Urza Saga ready to produce more material. In the meantime, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, so I'm going to leave this match going for the time. There's one thing about those Uro Oko decks, they certainly don't make for games that end nicely. Pantaman with just 6 cards left in the deck. Torin with just 4 life points, so well, kind of close to dying, but also not really. There's a food token right there, and you know, Oko, and there's 2 blockers. But it's going to just be really hard for Phantoman to win with the remaining cards in the deck. Seems like Torin just has a greater amount of value in the deck, right? Between Urza, Asmo, while like Fanta is just interaction spells, Oko, and well, mainly interaction spells and more Okos. Oko and Uro. Cracking a food token before the mana from Urza goes away. Are those players 2-0? Let's check. Yes. No, they're not. They're 1-1. They're both 1-1. Important to remember. Asmorana Mardikada Isina Kuldakar is green. True. Spinning it top in the upkeep because, well, why are you playing the card otherwise if not for spinning it in the upkeep? Creating an extra 12/12 construct token. Shadow Spear, please, let's end this. I think Shadow Spear would be a card that would board out from this deck in the matchup, but I think like Torin probably is not even super worth for him to attack right now. As Phantomon with 5 cards in the deck, like how is that gonna go? And Oko turns Deathrite Shaman into a free creature. Sure. How long did I practice to say the card name fluently? I read it a few times and tried to say it a few times, like not really a long time. Everyone says this is badge, but Omnath does the exact same thing. Ooh, Endurance is able to extend the game if he would target himself, but no. I mean, Omnath does that to a much lesser extent. It's also much less powerful. We've seen on those boards, they just get clogged down super hard by the Okos, right? But seems like we're about hardcasting the Ovalchase Daredevil now. Phantomad deploys yet another Thief of Crowns to make the constructs into puny little elks. So, Chad, remember, Urza, Lord High Artificer, is green. Asmorano Mardikada Snakuldakar is green. Construct token is green. And construct token number 2 is green. Despite having 4 minutes on the clock, Thorin doesn't worry and spins the top, as you can't let that value slide. It's okay, powerful MTG card. It does seem like one. Post-combat food token, wouldn't that be lethal? If everything attacked? I guess 7 life points, I would be scared of a removal spell in hand too. So, with 3 minutes on the clock, I don't judge this play as a bad one. And Taurin wins. Wait, but is it not the match? Is there a game 3 coming? Oh no. Well, this is likely to be decided by the clocks.
He's a
3 minutes to
phenomenal
5.
control player.
Huge advantage on
Canny
Pantheon's
dab.
side. Despite only 3 cards in hand, he has 2 minutes of an advantage over his opponent. But it does make me relive the memories of playing the Pro Tour where Oko Once Upon was legal in Standard. I played Oko blue-green, as did most of my opponents. And was really like this, but also in a paper tournament with 50 minutes of a clock and people just like elking and doing stuff and like you performed actions, but they didn't really feel like meaningful actions. Oftentimes you just were sitting on this huge board and you were like, yeah, I mean, elk this, use this planeswalker on this. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I'm sure play Krasis, draw 8, sure, like elk Krasis, sure. Attack with Krasis I champ, sure, like I Nissa plus, sure, 20x Krasis draw. Who wins? I don't know. I wonder if watching the match makes it lag more for the players. It would be truly unfortunate. Green, filter to blue, Emery. Ooh, milling over an Uro. That's a way to attack quickly. No, it's not just game 2. Well, we can't know actually, but it's probably game 3. It would be only fair if it's game 3. It's game 3, Copium. Collector, oof. Oof. That stops Thorin's artifacts quite a bit. Oh, oof. Although Astrolabe can still be played. Peffing Needle. What you gonna name? Oko? It does name Oko Thief of Crowns. But it's like in both decks, so it's a bit weird, right? Ledger Shredder. I've talked low of Ledger Shredder, but I think it actually impressed me so far. For the most part. Could have played around this. By using Emery first and then playing Ledger Shredder Monks to get the Connive. Although with the time pressure on, it's obviously harder. I guess what Fantaman wants here is... What Thorin wants is to escape Uro. Damn, nice value here. Discarding the discarding to Ledger Shredder, the Daredevil. But what Phantomon wants is an endurance to answer the Uro. The Fossa Vigor continuously looking kinda medium against the so-called artifact decks. I think. Time and time looking kinda not so impressive against the artifact decks. Oh, bros, this needle unleashed. Oh no. With Oko on the both sides on the battlefield, this assuredly just comes to the clock, and I think that does solely favor the player with 2 minutes of the clock instead of the one with 1 minute of the clock. Collector Oof does not need the reminder text saying that Collector Oof is green, as it's been green all the time, so... Did I see that Jeskai Breach was 50% of SCG top 4 plus winner? Alright, I'll try the deck. Soul Guy Lantern, that's like an anti-Uro tool. Damn, 30 seconds. I'm not sure about playing the extra Emery, but... Oh... Winning on damage against Oko is just also so hard because it just gives the extra life points to everyone. And Oval Chest Daredevil, draining the clock fully. Little bit of a lame finish to that game. I think board-wise, Thorin was favored by this point, more material, you know. But unfortunately, the clock is the part of the game, so... Here we are. And round 4 is going to be incoming. And I'll try to get feature matches again. Alright, Cherry XD Man and Ria are going to be the feature matches for today. Right, so the rest of the... It was game 2?
He's a phenomenal control player.
Impressive. Game freaking 2. Thank you, Giba, for the sub. Alright, let's... we can start the round for everyone, except for the feature players. Well, I'm going to be trying to make that work for them again. So, I guess you can start at the DGO.
He's a phenomenal control player.
I like your haircut today. Hope
Thank
the
you.
NBLM tourney is going well.
Tourney is going okay. Oh, thank you for the sub, Nubech. Oh. Now let's try to prepare a tournament scene, which is, needs some manual. Three zero depths. Area numbers. I guess 2000. Is it 2000? How about 2000? 30. Sultai Uro? Is this Sultai Uro deck? No, it's Sultai Depths. So it's gonna be Depths versus Sultai Depths. And now we're going to go oh, we're streaming the MTG Melee. You can start playing. And we finally see a working match, bros. Oh, so we see a depths mirror this round. It is round 4 already, so let me edit that too. And you can see players taking a look at their opening hands. Cherryman with a Depths and Hex Mage, so a nice Skipperoni. Choosing to go with a Lurus version, black-green, while Ria is running a, let's say, bigger build with Oko as the splashed card, which makes Lurus unavailable. We'll see Boseju grabbed, very nice card, as it can answer opposing Thespian stage or Depths. And we see Into the North for stage, not stage, Depths immediately. Rhea will respond with a Thoughtseize, discarding the Vampire Kex Mage, making Cherry need to top deck some sort of a way to produce Marred Lage, as it is not currently possible. Slowing the game down for both players, as Rhea now develops with Deathrite Shaman and Reclaimer. Stage doesn't come with Vampire Hexmage, so just going to be looking to activate that Hexmage, not Hexmage, Reclaimer to grab the Depths. In fact, Rhea has a Marred Lage set up for the next turn. But there's one thing that I'm wondering about now. Of course, Cherry can answer the Married Lage combo with Boseiju, but I just started wondering what happens if both players have a Married Lage. They just sit there, right? I guess it favors the Oko deck, as Cherry, I think, doesn't have an answer. Or I guess Reclaimer can get the step pay, that's true, that's also a line of play available for both of them. Ooh, but Marred Lage is a legendary token, so while Ria is going to attempt to make a Marred Lage here, this is going to be stopped by a 1-mana Boseiju, thanks to the legendariness of the Marred Lage. That was actually really nice move. Not sure why are the card names inverted in the sideboard of Rias. What was that? Oh yeah, they're left-handed. They are from the secret lair, yeah, but the main deck ones weren't like that, so I'm not sure what was the solution to that. What was the cause of that? We can ask Ria after the match, because this is truly interesting. Players still sideboarding, choosing their exact combinations. Then I'm really curious now. Use your mouse with your left hand, automatically switches. Damn, the technology today is really smart, friends. Some tough movements here in the sideboarding. Who do you think is going to win? We were supposed to make predictions every round for deciding to let the chat cheer on for the winner of the covered match. And I think we forgot to do any of that. Not a single one was performed. So I guess mods, or I can blame myself for not doing that too, but I think the guy who's up a game through. Were the mods ever useful? Yeah, for sure. Cherry with a Grazer. Grazer is actually a way to block Married Lage for a turn. Besides that, it's a Chrome Mox. It pitches well to Chrome Mox. And then you can go into the north stage and have a turn to Married Lage. Solid. So Cherry is up a game. Of course, I forgot to update that. So a Fotzi's taken into the north, leaving Cherry with just mana and then into the north. This is the Fotzi's bug if I've ever seen one. This is the Fotzi's bug incarnate. Yeah, that leaves Rhea in a little bit of a tough spot. Because the Married Lage is coming next turn and I see no answers in Rhea's hand. Oh, snap. Well, play Reclaimer, skip the Fotzies as there is no point. And can really draw Oko. Can draw Depths. But Cherry has the Boseiju trick once again with Married Lage costing just 1 mana. Seems really bad. Well, if only sees. Oh, I think it can be potent on the play. There is no Oko and Cherry X-Man deck, as it is a Lurus Depths deck, so it's not gonna play Oko, although Rhea is playing Okos against Okos itself. It would be kinda useful to have Vel to stop Oko from elking your Married Lage, for sure. Whoa! And he even draws the Depths, but there's no way around Boseiju. Fotzies doesn't work. Veil of Summer doesn't work. The Boseiju is going to target the Depths that Hexmage is going to try to remove all the counters from, and there is no going around that. It's pretty tough, pretty rough. Yeah, truly a 5 out of 5 walk Kanekis moment for Boseiju. But the Boseiju was known about, so that was it. That was it. Fairly quick match. Cherry XT-Man moving to 4-0. Oh, with that top 8. In range. He could have drawn the Hex Mage. No, there was no outs for Rhea because the Poseidon was Poseidoing the depth, so the Hex Mage was in play. Yeah, uncounterable, resilient to discard because it's all lands, so needs pretty specific interaction to battle against depths. How many decks play depths? Again, I don't have a full like metagame breakdown because it just says deck list on most of the deck lists. But there is a decent amount of depths players, I think. Like Tamiyo's Safekeeping. Tamiyo's Safekeeping, pretty good card. Sloth Depths. Watchery XT-Man moving to 4-0 in our 6 rounds tournament. Gabriel Nassif also 3-0 currently fighting on his channel with Narset, Oko. Some expensive planeswalkers powered up by Chrome Mox. Honestly, Chrome Mox seems like one of the more popular cards in the tournament. Many people play that, just like powering out 3 mana plays with it on turn 2. That just give you card advantage to recoup the lost card advantage to the Chrome Mox. Makes sense. Eric Rose with under black-green depth deck doing well too. Max, so Da Vinci MTG with blue-green artifacts. We've seen parts of the rounds from the deck, was looking pretty impressive, and after that Rhea was 3-0, but no more 3-0 gamers afterward. Jendrik Schmidt with his deprived deck, very nice. Deprive over counterspell, that's really requires you to go deep to do that, but we do know that Jendrik is like world's #1 fan of doing things slightly very inefficient to gain slightly more card advantage. Kani laughed at me when I said that Depths is NBLM powerhouse. Sure, I might have laughed, but I think I was wrong. Two-one, Jan Kravchuk with Belcheroni. Seems solid. I'm not sure if this is exactly the list I posted. If there's some interesting new technologies, but for empty, very based. Spike 2-1. Mono red Prison 2-1. Lex is on Oops, right? Yes. Oops, all spells. Any Eldrazi decks? There were a few Eldrazi decks, but they were all towards the bottom, I think, and not high. But like it's a small tournament, so like some people just don't want to play it. But also, honestly, when putting together the Eldrazi decks, they just don't seem that powerful, and trying to fight through Oko with Eldrazi seems like a nightmare. It's the Schmidster deck with Grinding Station and Underworld Breach. Tebalt Trickery Bamsing 2-1. I wonder how is Bamsing doing now. Vurg by Carlo. We've seen, I think, a game of this deck, fighting off against the blue-green affinity, piloted by Adam, which seemed impressive, and like Ledger Shadow really pulling its weight here, being a threat that does not die to Force of Vigor, was really impressive. Wes Gaines playing Eldrazi with Skull Clamp once upon. Interesting, Skull Clamp. I haven't thought of putting that together. Charles is in the sideboard. Okay. Asha Poesis, nice. Green Eldrazi's. Do I think that Trickery is better in NBL than it would be in regular Modern? For sure. Hogak. Although Hogas. Abzan. This deck was wild. Jack Lynch is playing Grist, Okoren, Collector Oofs, I assume GSZ, yeah. GSZ, Primal Titan, Omna, Uro, all the usual suspects. Damn, those decks look kinda potent. It's a Yorion deck too. With 4 ley lines, optimistic. Is Boserio just the best card in this tournament? It's certainly... Well, it depends. It's much weaker against the, like, in the Oko mirrors. Dom Harvey to 1 with Super Amulet. Udaya with Grixis. I'm sorry for doxing everyone, bros, but I hope you don't mind. Brazen Borrower to be resilient against Chalice and against Marret Lage, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. TBR, wow. Cloud Post at 2-1. So this is the green Cloud Post. Golos, Elvish Rejuvenator, we've looked at this list. Damn, I think I would want to maybe see a match. Does this have some 4 Ghost Quarters against Depths? Pretty solid. Simian Spirit, Blood Moon, Charbelcher. Solid. Another Eldrazi deck. This time at 2-1. So there is a few Eldrazi decks. Haven't quite counted. Another Amulet deck. 4 GSZs, okay. Ooh, Louis Samuel Del Tour. Going 0-2. So I guess if you go 0-2 and you don't have the third round, that means dropping. Splinter Twin, not doing so well. I guess Chrome Mox too. Eldrazi big, 0-2. Not so big. I think there has been 0 Ragavans. Which is kind of weird, right? Because... I mean, maybe just everyone is sick of playing with Ragavan, so like, why would they play Ragavan, right? But literally 0 people registered Ragavan. Yeah. I guess you're terrified of Misstep, and also Ragavan doesn't look so hot against Chalice, and doesn't look so great against... Against... some stuff in the format. Like Stitches Suppliers, Hogak, you really don't want Ragavan there, right? I think. And against the Oko decks, it pretty quickly becomes... The Oko decks tend to stall the board, so it could make it kind of weak. Right, let's watch Deepyan with Cloud Post against... Ooh, struggling a little bit against Magus of the Moon. Couldn't afford to rent Ragavan my mono red prison deck. Was that the case? Yeah, the board on Deepyan's part of the battlefield looked kind of formidable. But then you look at the Primeval Titan, it's actually an elk, right? So it's not so strong anymore. Not looking so good anymore. It is, like many cards this tournament, an elk. You could just ignore all the misstep wars and just play lands and activate abilities. The depth stacks play a decent amount of 1-drops. Some play Deathrite Shaman, most play Reclaimer. I think all, probably because, well, why wouldn't you? They play Misstep on their own, discard spells, so that deck kinda doesn't really dodge Misstep that well, I think. It does play a huge amount of 1-drops, although many of the 2-drops are also important, and then oftentimes a Chrome Mox into a 2-drop makes Misstep look a bit silly against them. Be back in a minute, bros.
Fisting is 300 bucks.
This tournament is a lot of fun to watch. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you for the donation. Ooh, Endurance has flashed in when I was away. Yes, elking your own Magus actually does not get rid of the ability. It is still a well, it still affects the lands. So Oko is getting attacked. But a nice Vanquatal is going to be flashed and block. Strong, strong. But as it is, Oko dies, so... Well, Charlie QDS has 7 cards in hand, but we'll see if any of them are castable. Solitude. Sure. I Solitude, your Chalice of the Void. You gain 3 life. Does that kill Oko? No. Path to Exile. Path to Exile, Magus of the Moon combination is impressive, but it's also just kind of good enough. On the other hand, Deepyan here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, 9, 10 mana already, so maybe a big Eldrazi is going to get cast. Maybe a Karn the Great Creator is going to be cast. Golos. Doesn't quite help through Magus, but can find an Eye or Cataracts for after the Magus dies. Or a Dryad Arbor, because that's the only thing that does anything at this very moment. I turn your Golos into an elk. Sure, said Golos. Elk me. And passing the turn. No proactive plays. Interesting. Yeah, the Cloudburst player has no cards in hand, but why do you need them in hand when you can draw them off the top of your deck like this? Karn the Great Creator, very strong one. Could go for the Lattice lock, TBH. Like an Unholy Heat on Karn. But it's fine. Lattice also means that everything is an artifact and everything could be played for any color of mana. Okay, so Karn does get Unholy Heated. So the Lattice... yeah, makes everything have a nice frame. Do I mean elk teeth? Excellent joke. Kanik, if you want another commentator, I could join in half an hour. Sure, that sounds like a good idea. Nice colorless endurance, looks really cool. Especially for a top 8, it's going to be nice to have a pair.